First edition of Rave Review. This is a new show by myself, Kutski, kind of to get myself a little bit more organised with the promos that have been sent in for the record label. Because sometimes, I'm a one-man band and I spin a lot of plates. I run a record label, keeping the rave alive. But sometimes it's I won't work on the record label for 3 weeks at a time. Stuff's scheduled in, everything's all set up, it's all ready to go. So there's kind of no need for me to really do anything. So was that super loud or was that okay? Again, bad organisation. So a lot of people are sending tracks through and I'm missing emails and stuff left, right and centre. So I figured out a good way to do it would be to just download everything once a month, put it all in a folder and sit down and listen to it all front to back. And I'm thinking to myself, why don't I just do that on a live stream? So that's exactly what this show is. Before we get into it, this is where I was a little bit organised. I've even made a little PowerPoint presentation about what the show is and how to submit your tracks. And this isn't just useful for submitting tracks to me and this show. This is just more generally because I know a lot of friends that run record labels and stuff as well. And it's a little bit of an ongoing joke about some of the pitfalls that people fall into when submitting music and stuff. And it's and I feel a little bit bad because there are also a lot of mistakes that I've made in the past. And then now I've been in the industry a little while longer. I look back on it and I'm like, oh, I understand why that wasn't such a good idea. But, people at industry veterans just kind of assume everyone knows that. So where are we? I made a little PowerPoint presentation for us. Where are we? Okay. Rave Review, the name of the show. Makes sense, doesn't it? Colours of the Keeping the Rave Alive logo. How to submit your track to the label. You can screenshot any of this or watch it back. You'll see it all after the fact. I've made a web page on our site. If you go to demos.keepingtheravealive.com, there's a form on there where you can put your name, your track name, a little message and a link to downloading music on there. Feel free to do it if you want to do it during the show, but I've already downloaded the tracks for this show, so we're not going to be adding any more in. But then anything that you send over between now and the next show will make it into the next show. File services to use to give me. This is kind of an important one because you'd be surprised how many people get this wrong and don't get the music listened to. Right? This is more of a personal thing, but I would recommend Dropbox, Google Drive, or SoundCloud. If you're going to use SoundCloud, make sure you enable the link download on it. Don't use WeTransfer. People always send stuff over with WeTransfer, but the problem is the links expire in 2 weeks, and I might not be getting around to it. For example, I was downloading all the promos for this show and I was making sure I hadn't missed any. And there were a couple that had been sent 2 weeks ago with WeTransfer links that had expired. So there's nothing I can do at that point. And unfortunately, I don't have time to chase everybody back up again to get it. So it's just, I'm kind of sorry. If you're watching this and you used WeTransfer then and your track doesn't end up getting featured, that might be why. It's fine. You can submit it on the next one. How to name your files is another one because some people put in the name of it and they go, oh, my artist name's this and I've wrote this track called that. And they'll send me a track called Freedom V8.wav master. And it's then when I've got that in the project, I don't know who's done it. So just try and be clear with your file naming of your tracks. Put your artist name, then the track name. And then, if it's happy hardcore mix, hard trance mix or whatever, you don't necessarily need to put that. If you want to have a master reference at the end, that doesn't offend me. It's fine. But how many people leave their artist name off it kind of surprises me. Send one track per show, please. If you send over 50 tracks, it's I can't play them all. I don't know which one to do. So if people have sent through a bunch of tracks and you're excited, you've got 10 tracks and you want to share them, I get that. I just literally pick the first one. That might not be the one that you want to be representative of your thing. We've only got time to do one track per artist on this show. So please just send over one. Concise introduction. If you want to write a little message about yourself and be hi, my name's Jeff. I've been producing for 2 years. Really love happy hardcore. This is the type of sound that I'm doing. And here's my new track. Great. I know a little bit about you, but some people post a 5-paragraph bio or something, which it's not really that useful for me when I'm just scanning through. So yeah, just a concise little introduction is always nice. Give me a bit of background knowledge about yourself. That's all good. If the track does get missed, feel free to drop me a polite follow-up email. But one of the things when I was talking about jokes that people do about it, do I get my camera back on? Is people send over a track for the record label, not just my label, and then if you don't reply within a day, they'll do like a follow-up message on Instagram or by email with just question marks, and it's the most rude thing. I don't know whether it's like just because I'm old, but it's like to just send an email and then just send another email, like reply to your original message with just question marks. And it's like a joke that people do. Like as soon as that comes through, or if somebody sends you a message on Instagram and it's like, hey, I was wondering if you could do this, and then a day later, question mark, question mark, question mark. That's just fucking rude. I don't know whether it is just me and young people do it and that's what's cool, but everybody that I know in the industry hates it, and people screenshot it when people do it to them and send it around groups and go, here's another one. Don't fall into that trap of that. Okay. So yeah, that's the only reason why I put, by all means, if you're like, hey man, I sent you a track over like 3 weeks ago and you did the show last night and it wasn't included on it, just making sure you got it. Chances are I did just accidentally miss it. That's cool. Let me know. I'll make sure it's included. But, we all make mistakes and we can all just be like, polite and friendly with each other and get to what we all want out of it without being rude. Be prepared for constructive criticism. Obviously, you're asking for your tracks to be reviewed. Obviously, I'm not here to talk shit on people and go, that's terrible and stuff like that. But at the same time, is if you just want somebody to just tickle your balls and tell you how amazing your music is, then give it to your mates because they'll all do that. But here we're kind of like, we're going to look at it. I'm looking for tracks to sign to my record label. So I can offer constructive criticism from my perspective. I've been in the industry for a little while. I don't know it all. It's only my personal opinion. But it's like, don't submit stuff if you don't want people to say, oh, I wouldn't have done that, or I think it should be, if you don't want any criticism, that's fine, because not everybody takes it well if you're just doing it for like a hobby point of view. But, this is a review show. Quick shout out to everybody in the chat, because I know there's a lot of banter. Everybody means well in the chat. There's no dickheads in here because we've kicked them all out, basically. We've been here for a while. But just try and be like polite and constructive in the chat. If you see somebody having a bit of a joke or something like that, it's all playful and love. But just a note to be polite and constructive in the chat, because people have spent a lot of time, making these tracks and stuff. So it's kind of like they're probably feeling very open and tender when it's being played to people for the first time. So last point, rejection is not failure. If I don't want the track for the record label, doesn't mean it's a bad track. It just means it's not suitable for the record label. That's all. Nothing bad. Just my personal opinion. There's a lot of amazing tracks that some artists play and other amazing artists choose not to play them. So that's just purely my opinion. Don't take it as failure. It's just kind of like, it's just like artistic opinion and stuff like that. So I might turn around and say, cool track, not for me. It might get signed to Scan Tracks because it's more suitable for that label, and you could be the biggest hardstyle artist this time next year. So don't take rejection on this show as failure. Just take it as some just advice and direction to take on board. You don't have to listen to it. So with that being said, let's get on to the music. Right. I feel like I've done a little presentation there. You haven't that? But I did think that might be useful to people. So where do we go? Right, I've got the tracks loaded into Ableton so we can give them a go. One of the things that I kind of didn't want to do with, but some of the tracks are like 7 minutes long and we've got a lot of tracks to go through. This is kind of an important thing, that I might start skipping through tracks if it's sounding a little bit samey at times. And I know that kind of seems insulting when somebody's made it, but that's kind of how people at record labels listen to music. They'll listen to it, and if they're not completely engaged, they might skip on to see if there's something later that catches their ear. If there is, then they'll go back and they'll listen to the whole thing. So I'm going to give you the experience how, from like a record label point of view, how I would listen to a track. For example, I can see here there's like an intro of just beats, so chances are I'm just gonna like flick through this. Let's get going.
Tony! What's your name? It's you! Fuck you, thank you! Fuck you! Fuck you! Hey, you know what I did last night? You better not bring my mother into this! You know what I did? You better not! How come there's fire over there? Oh! But I thought you wanted me to. Fuck you, thank you! Fuck you! What is your name? Ezekiel! You better not bring my mother into this! What is your name?
Okay, so the level's all right for that. It was like, doesn't sound completely out of balance because I can't hear myself back on this. Should have double checked it before, but there we go. Yeah, you've just heard Alexander Verve with Ezekiel. Nice track. That's not going to be one for the Keeping the Rave Alive label just because it doesn't really fit into the style of what we put out on the label. I mean, that's a pretty long track, like 6 minutes 20. Yeah, and we do like very short, snappy arrangements, you know, when things are moving very fast. Production sounds good and solid. The two things that stood out to me where if you listen to, like, bearing in mind that this is the breakdown, this part here. So that's your big drop point when people are going to be going epic. But if you listen to the part before the breakdown, you're not really giving the people anything, like, you know, it's got to be more than it was before. And if anything, the leads sound wider and brighter on this section. Because the filter. So I just think that it's like, that's not going to have the energy on the drop on the dance floor from my perspective. And the other thing is I did notice on this bit, there's some quite hard panning. I really like that, like, industrially techno loop, but it's panned really hard to the left. And I tend to, I used to stick stereo wideners on everything and make stuff like as wide as possible. And I've kind of brought stuff more back into the center now, to be honest, unless something's purposely wide. And things with this, like with more hard dance stuff, what people used to do to make more space in the mix, you'd have your percussion. If you had two percussive loops and you wanted a bit more space in the mix, you'd pan one a little bit to the left and one a little bit to the right. But that's not fighting with anything there. I think that could be more central, but I mean, that's just being picky. That's just artistic choice. So great track, very good track. Don't get me wrong. It's just not something really for the label. But thank you very much, Alexander, for sending that one over. Mikey G's up next with Secrets. Should we give this one a blast? Old school happy hardcore vibes.
Myself in the dark of the night when I was lost.
I'm feeling this one. This one's cool. Really like it. Wicked. That's wicked. Mikey, if you're watching this back afterwards, brilliant. Great job. Some just outro beats there. Yeah, really good. Really like it. Definitely that retro old school happy hardcore vibe. Depending on where you're going for with the scene and stuff, I would say that the problem is that's gonna, because it's very old school happy hardcore sounding. This is something that I struggle with a lot when I'm trying to capture that sound. Not going to fit in with modern UK hardcore. It wouldn't, like, you listen to that on its own. Brilliant, love it. Production sounds really sharp and bright, but it might sound a little bit weak compared to other tracks in the mix. Now with that, the only one way to find out is just play a bunch of new hardcore and then mix that in with it and see how it feels. So yeah, that's just like one thing that just like sprung to mind. The other thing is I was thinking to myself when I was listening to the vocal on this part, I was thinking, damn, like that vocal's wicked. I was like, it's got to be a sample or something. It's like, there's no way that that's original. My worry was, is it a bootleg or something? Because it's like, it's really good quality and it's usually a little bit suspicious with stuff like that. And then I heard this bit. It's a vocal from Splice, which is a sample download site. So, you know, you pay so much a month and you get access to so many credits to be able to use samples from the site. MKN has already used that sample on a track on the record label, a track called Roll the Dice. That's the problem with using Splice vocals. So the one thing with me with that, it's like I'm going, if we put that out on the label, are people going to go, well, that's a remix of Roll the Dice, MKN's track, when it's not? But it just uses the same vocal samples. That's the only thing. Yeah, I've coloured that green, so I want to go back to that one tomorrow and have a fresh listen on Fresh Ears, because that one's really cool. Really like it. So yeah, big up, Mikey. Good job. What have we got next? Patho with Astro. Let's give it a listen. Video Rave Nation just said in the chat, and I was thinking exactly the same thing. 2013 vibes. It reminds me of that like noise controllers give it up vibe.
Astro. 5.5. Astro. No. Astro. No. What you know about rolling down in the deep? What you know about rolling? What you know about rolling down in the deep? What you know about rolling, rolling? What you know about rolling down in the deep? When your brain goes numb, you can call that mental freeze. When these people talk too much, put that shit in slow motion. Yeah, I feel like an astronaut in the ocean. Like, what you know about rolling down in the deep? When your brain goes numb, you can call that mental freeze. When these people talk too much, put that shit in slow motion. Yeah, I feel like an astronaut in the
Yeah, okay, I get the idea on that. That's a great track. I really like the 2013 vibes. I think the breakdown sounds a little bit out of place, to be honest. I'm not sure about the vocal. Like when I listen to this section, it's definitely got a vibe to the track.
What you know about rolling down in the deep?
Don't think, like, I mean, almost you could have like, I mean, obviously it's because keeping the rave alive. I'm looking at it from that perspective, but maybe you could have like a female vocal, like a happier track. And the other thing is the mid intro in a different key than the vocal. Because listen.
Down in the deep. What you know about rolling? What you know about rolling down in the deep?
Listen when the kick comes in now.
What you know about rolling down in the deep? When your brain goes numb, you can call that mental freeze.
Sounds like the kick's out of key, like not like out of tune, but like in the wrong key on that section. I really like the track. I think just for the sake of a modern track, I think the drop on it could be the drop could have a more modern kick.
I feel like an astronaut in
Just doesn't sound powerful enough. I get that it's going for that more old school vibe, but I think this works really well on the intro. But if that had like a super modern kick on it, that'd sound really cool. So there's definitely potential with that track, but I do think that maybe revisit the breakdown on that one. But good job, Patha, that's really good. And I really like the fact that it's got a style to it as well. So I need to get moving, got a few of these to get through. Right, where are we? We're on Second Star with Can't Stop. Let's give it a listen.
Can't stop.
Yeah, okay, that's another wicked one, isn't it? Second Star, Can't Stop. Really good. Not a fan of the vocal, to be honest. Got a problem with that. I don't think it really fits in with the track very well. I don't like big, drawn-out raps. Sometimes it, like, don't forget, like, that's a happy hardcore track where you're going to have an MC over the top of it anyway, doing the rhymes like that. So I'm not a fan of the big, long, drawn-out. I like, a little rap sample chopped up or something, kind of like more edited and syncopated rather than like, like bars over it. The other thing is that's a Beastie Boys sample. That would cause a problem if I wanted to put it out on the record label, because it's been used so heavily in the track that there's a chance that the content ID might pick it up. It's not a case of Beastie Boys or Beastie Boys record label finding it. It's a problem now with all these search algorithms. So yeah, I mean, it'd be interesting, a tip if you're watching this back Second Star with stuff like that. If you're going to use a big chunk of samples like that, upload it as a hidden video to YouTube and see if the copyright strike gets it, because YouTube's on the ball with that sort of stuff. So obviously it won't cause you any problems if you just upload it as a hidden video, but it'd let you know whether that'll get caught, and that would make me a little bit nervous with it. And also I think it does your track a disjustice, because I think if you take that vocal out and then maybe even put a big massive, because obviously you're going for that, like that late 2000s, yeah, Raver Baby type sound. If that had a big vocal on it and just like an old school Brisk and Ham style rap sample before the drops and stuff, like that's an amazing track. Like you can already hear the top line, can't you? Like the singing, na 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 na, like that Breeze and Styles type era. And I think just having a Beastie Boys rap sample plonked over the top of it like a mashup does the track a disservice. So yeah, I think that track's 100% got potential, but just maybe revisit it and you could make an anthem out of that for sure. Right, let's keep moving. Let's keep moving to Sonic Storm with Bass Kicking. Sorry, can I just interrupt the drop on this one? This is how I like the rap samples used. See, it adds the energy and the pace, doesn't it? It's perfect that I played that after it. So just use the rap samples like that and then a big vocal. Another great track, another absolutely great track. That was Sonic Storm with bass kicking. But again, that's like a great track, but I think it could be a little bit better with just like one extra element. I can't put my finger on exactly what it is, maybe like another vocal and stuff. But one thing that I have noticed with quite a few of the tracks, the drops are the same. The drops are very similar. And remember, it's like, as from a DJ's perspective, if you want people to not mix out of your tune after the first drop, give a DJ a reason to play the rest of the song, and give the dance floor a reason to care about the next drop if they've just heard the first one. So if you listen to a lot of the sections, people have got really short attention spans, so you can't give them the same thing for too long, or like, you know, be progressive or build too cleverly like with it. And it's like, you know, if you listen to this drop here, again, I get it, that's like, you know, your bridge section to get back to the final break. But maybe you could even go straight from this. So it's more of an arrangement issue with that, I think. Like, how long's that track as well is... Like, we always make fun on the stream about how short music is these days, and we joke about it, but there's a reason, because that's what works these days. Short attention span. You upload something to Spotify, if people skip on to the next one and it shows that they only listen to a third of your track, it's less likely to recommend it to other people. So you give people a short, snappy track, all killer, no filler, no reason to skip on to the next track, short enough that the track's played out before they get bored of it. 100%, oh, they must have really liked that, recommend it to somebody else. And that's, you know, you've got to take all of this into account with it. I think you could make that track like a 3-minute tight track and cut some of these sections out of it. But it's a great track. Like, if you just tightened up the arrangement of that a little bit, and maybe if there's just that that extra little something with it that makes the track stand out in a set. But yeah, again, a great job. There's so many good tracks coming through at the moment. Mind Blast and Rush D with Rave Society.
No boundaries, no limits, just pure ecstasy. A kaleidoscope of colors, a dance symphony. Let's rave till the break of dawn. Hands up high, we'll carry on. We are united, we are free. This night we are the Rave Society. We are united, we are free. This night we are the Rave Society. Let's rave till the break of dawn. Hands up high, we'll carry on. We are united, we are free. This night we are the Rave Society. Rave Society.
Great work, Mind Blast and Rush D. Yeah, you noticed out that's the first track that I played where I haven't been tempted to start skipping around on it. If that was on Spotify, 2 minutes 40, you're going to listen to that entire track. Obviously, that's the edit, so if you were looking at a DJ version of that, you know, you're going to stick, 20 seconds of beats on the beginning and probably not even on the end now with how tight everything works. Yeah, I mean, brilliant production. There's nothing I can pull with that one. And I love the little trick here. It's like you make... a lot of people do that these days. I used to do it with bootlegs because my production was a bit rough around the edges. But look how there's on the master volume, there's an automation there. So it gets quieter and quieter. You can't hear that by ear.
We are united, we are free. This night we are the Rave Society.
But that impact there, when you get the da-da-da, that's going to cut through in a club so loud. And that's what I was on about, you know, giving the drops the energy. And I think if you listen, I need to listen back to this again. The only thing I'd say, and Danny BPM does this amazingly well with his tracks. For me, if you're not trying to capture that hardstyle vibe, because obviously it's kind of like it's borderline hardstyle, isn't it? This, I'd put a big gong 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 kick drum on this back end of the track there, just to make this drop different. Again, give me a reason to play the full track and not to mix out of it at this point. if it's going to do the same thing twice. So yeah, but I mean, obviously it's like you can't just have it as like 1.5 minute track, although you probably could these days, couldn't you? But yeah, I just think just switch that kick up a little bit just to make that a little bit different. But that's a really good track, and really well produced as well. So yeah, big respect to Mind Blast and Rush D. Is Rush D in the chat? Hello, matey. Yeah, great job with that, mate. Great job. Let's keep things moving on to Purist Quick Smash. Was Pursuit with Quick Smash, a solid track. I like the idea because it's like, you know, when you get the tracks that are the big anthems and they've got the big hands in the air breakdowns and, you know, 2.5 minutes of singing along and then 30 seconds of beats, then another 2.5 minutes of singing along and then an outro. And then in between those tracks, you need to have just them solid pounding tracks that are just like momentum and moving it. I always think the best example of that was Noise Controller's Give It Up. Because that just kind of, it never stopped. There was always some percussive element and it kept moving. And I'm getting them vibes from this track. The only thing is I just think that it's just like a little bit monotonous. Like I don't think this is the main... That's the main hook of the track. And I don't think that's strong enough to carry the track all the way through. But it's like, it's a really good idea and the production's decent. And again, like, you know, in the right context, like I can imagine playing that like down in Plymouth when you played in the 4 till 5 a.m. set and people just want something just to get into the groove of and just go with. And that's going to be perfect, like for the more underground clubs. It's not really something for the label, I don't think. I do like, I can always respect people that are trying to write not just the big anthem, that are writing dance. I always say there's like anthems and there's dance floor tracks, and that's very much a dance floor track. So. And I can appreciate the short arrangement on that as well. So you wouldn't really want to cut that to be any sharper, but maybe just have this. Maybe this drop here should be that as like your mid-intro, and this section, there should be more going on with it. So again, it's a solid effort, good effort, definitely. And there's like, you know, there's potential with the track, but I just think a bit more work and listen to more reference tracks and see what other people do to keep the tracks interesting as you're going along. So yeah, thanks for sending that one over, Pursuit. And now we'll go for Prada by, there we go, Queso Ray, D Block Europe, and that's the A New Kid remix. Let's give it a mix. interesting track, not exactly my cup of tea, to be honest, just from a personal taste perspective. A lot of that, kind of like Russian donk, what do they call it, hard bass sound embedded in there. I'm not sure about whether this was just a bootleg or a remix that's been sent through or something, but I think there was a few mix problems with it, like when the bass comes in. The bass is way too back in the mix. You want, like, the kick and the bass should be the dominant things in the mix there. Where it's like the dominant thing there, it's like the percussion's really bright. I don't know whether that's like a monitoring issue. Maybe you've got really bass heavy speakers, so you've really had to push the top ends. The other thing is when you're writing music, try and work at as low a volume as possible. A lot of people just, because everything sounds good when it's loud, doesn't it? You listen to things lower, and if you need to turn it up louder to compensate, then there's like, there's a problem with the mix. Again, I don't know the original, but the vocal's out of key with what's going on. Maybe that's in the original and it's part of the charm of it. And I can hear there's a lot going on with compression on that. Like, compression's what you use to kind of glue stuff together, but compression should, unless you're using it as a dramatic effect, should be like more invisible. So when you you can hear stuff coming in and out. Like, the idea is when you've got one element and you don't want two things filling up the same space. When one plays a sound, you'd sidechain it so it pushes the other one down just to make space for it. But when you're trying to balance a mix, you shouldn't really be able to notice that unless you're going for that Benny Benassi, pumping effect. Whereas it just sounds there that it's like there's a bunch of different stuff fighting for space. It's an interesting track. Like I said, it's not really my cup of tea, but a lot of people when they sent through tracks and stuff, they were like saying, I've only been producing for so long, or I know this isn't going to be up for standard on the label, but, I just want to send it over to get a bit of feedback on it and how to go forward. So definitely not being critical of anybody's things when I'm sending over and picking at it. I'm just trying to give some advice, because there's nothing worse than when you send a track to somebody and they just go, yeah, cool, good job. Like, I don't want it, but good job. And it's like, well, no one's gained anything from it then, have they? Even if like the person's, critical feedback isn't actually relevant, you're like, well, that was the sound I was going for. And it's like, it's just not, it's just good to have that information. And, I found myself that it's like being able to take criticisms, an important part of it if you want to be able to grow and move forward as well. So like, I'm not being critical with any of these tracks for the sake of being critical. Or kind of any kind of superiority thing, but just to offer my humble feedback on how things could be improved. So yeah, definitely keep me posted with further work. I don't know whether that was A New Kid or Prada that sent it through. I'm guessing A New Kid if it was like a remix, which meant that I couldn't release that on the label anyway. But yeah, very interesting sound. So yeah, keep at it. Emoticon, Dom, an artist who we've had on the label a bunch of times already. I really like his stuff. He's an Australian producer. His stuff's always really interesting. If anything, the only thing with Dom stuff is I'd say sometimes he needs to rein in the ideas. And I only know this firsthand because it's something that I really suffered from a lot. He's trying to cram so many ideas into one track. And it's like, whereas it'd be better if they were spread out a little bit more. And Dom's more recent stuff over the last 18 months, they've been like they've had a lot of variety and been interesting. They're always like hard dance influenced tracks, but they take influences from other things that's popular, so they're always really interesting music. And he's like the refinement of getting an idea per track, so the track feels like it has a lot of identity. So I don't actually know this track. I'm interested to hear it. So yeah, thanks for sending this one over, Dom. Let's give it a listen.
Artificial intelligence. Dreams. Dreams. Artificial intelligence. When does a perceptual schematic become consciousness? When does a personality simulation become the bitter mode of the soul? Artificial intelligence. One day they'll have secrets. One day they'll have dreams. Artificial intelligence. Secrets. Dreams. Secrets. Dreams. Secrets. Dreams. Secrets. Dreams. One day they'll have secrets. One day they'll have dreams. Artificial intelligence. One day they'll have dreams. Artificial intelligence. Consciousness. When does a perceptual schematic become consciousness? Or when does a personality simulation become the bitter note of the soul? Artificial intelligence. One day they'll have secrets. One day they'll have dreams. Artificial intelligence. When does a personality simulation become the bitter note of the soul? One day they'll have secrets. One day they'll have dreams. Dreams. One day they'll have secrets.
I'm only skipping through the back end of that just for time. That's wicked. That's really cool. Yeah, especially this section. This is what I was saying earlier about, like, you know, being able to give people a reason to play more than it. It's like if you listen to the mid-intro section here, just a solid groove, that pounding reverse bass.
Secrets.
Then you've got the screeches here. That's something new, right? But if this section here, if you just carried on running with the screeches like you did here, it'd really start to get repetitive. So listen to what he does.
Artificial intelligence.
Gated kick. And then switch back up.
One day they'll have dreams.
And that's just what keeps that whole this whole section like interesting. Only thing that it's like I would pull up, and I don't think it is a problem, because it's something that I always do the opposite way and find out that I'm the one that's made the problem, is the vocal sounds too loud to me in the mix. Vocals need to sound really loud to cut through in the club. So I always like bury it so it sounds balanced to me. Then when I play it out in a club, you really want the vocal to like dominate over the top of it. So I think he's probably got that right. And the other thing is that's a sample from something. And this probably isn't a problem with dance music, but it's only just literally because before this I was doing some dialogue editing, and that's like cleaning up vocals from recording sessions for, like, you know, like voiceovers and stuff like that, like in video games or cartoons and stuff like that. And you have to go through and clean up the recordings. Now that's got background ambience in it and none of it's been taken out. So if you listen,
When does a perceptual scheme?
you can hear, because the vocals being processed, you can you know, it's been like multi-band compressed. It's also bringing out all the background noise as well.
When does
You can hear it there at the start. Listen, like when it hits, you can even see it, the transient there. That's where the sample starts playing.
when does a person
And that's not the word, it's the tss.
When does a personality simulation become the bitter note of the soul? Note of the soul. The soul. The soul.
And I don't know whether it's because he's got a snap compressor on it to make it really punchy, but maybe if you added a bit more of a fade to it, it'd get rid of the clicks.
When does a perceptual schematic become consciousness? When does a perceptual schematic become consciousness? When does a personality
See, can you hear the hiss? Nobody's going to sit there in a club when they're like partying and raving and they've just loved the mid intro. No one's going to turn around and go, Steve, did you hear that? Did you hear that? You can hear the hiss in the background from the movie sample. That's literally just because the job that I've been doing before it. I don't think that would be a problem or it's even worth going back and fixing it, but it's just something I've got to be constructive of, and I can't just turn around and go, great job, Dom, and not offer anything. So yeah, maybe before you do the processing on it, there's a really good tool, Isotope RX. It's really good for cleaning up. You can get rid of like pops out when I go purr. And if you looked at the waveform of that, that's called plosives. And when I'm going like mouth clicks, you can get rid of that. And de-esser, like I hit my S's hard when I talk. It's just how it is. This, but you can calm down those frequencies and stuff. So yeah, Isotope RX is really good for cleaning up vocals. Then do all your processing in your multiband, and you won't be pulling up the background noise as well. But maybe that was a style choice. So yeah, either way, great job, Dom. You know I like your stuff. Emma Rule Breakers sent through this one, I think before. Emma's been sending loads. Emma's part of a duo. Sorry, I forget your partner's name off the top of my head. But Emma's the one who always sends over the tracks. Yeah, and I always really like it. It's not really typically the sort of keeping the rave alive stuff, but it's like they're great for the start of the show and stuff like that. So yeah, let's keep moving with these tracks and listen to Rule Breakers, Out of My Mind 24/7. Yeah, great job as always, Rule Breakers. Was that I mean, all donks always sound out of tune, but was that an artistic choice to have the key change there? Yeah. Again, it's like Rule Breaker sent over loads of stuff. It's like, I love it. It's greatly produced and stuff. I just don't know whether it really fits in with what we do for the record label. That reminds me more, it's like an evolution of Lab 4 or something, a more modern Lab 4 sound. There was one part that when I listened to it briefly before, I wasn't sure about it at first, but now I kind of, again, another style choices. I wasn't convinced on the reverb choice for the vocal because it sounded like it was very boxy and in a room. Like, you know, kind of like, rather than like dreamy and spacey. Listen to this bit.
Out of my mind, out of my head, an unconscious path where I'm being led.
But I kind of like it. Then when I'm listening to it, I'm thinking for what the actual content of the vocal is. Again, it does sound a little bit loud in the mix to me, but then you want the vocal to cut through in the mix. Maybe it sounds a little bit bassy. Maybe that's what the problem is for me, because I did notice that in this section here as well. And maybe there's a few resonant frequencies, you know, on the high notes. That bit there. There's something that kind of like tickles your ears a little bit. They're called resonant frequencies. I mean, it's like, I know obviously, like you can tell by the level of production, like they know how to sort that out. But then you have got to be careful when you're doing that, because basically all you do is you create a big spike on the. I can show you really. I'm supposed to be making this stream like a reasonable length. There, you can see it's that one there. So what you could do is put a frequency there, narrow band it. Like, you'd only do this on the vocal, not on the master of the track, and then just tuck that down. So see, it doesn't kind of cut through and hit that. That's with it on, and again without it. See, it just tames it a little bit. Just stuff like that makes it easier on the ear. So yeah, but I mean, like, again, it's like, this is just like me being picky. If I was in the studio and this was my finished track, they'd be the type of things that I'd be looking for. Maybe take a little bit of the bottom end off the vocal, and just take a couple of the resonant frequencies out. But I mean, that's fine. It's a great track. It really is. So yeah, great job again, guys. Let's keep things moving, because like I said, I've got to be up early with the baby in the morning as well. Stuffed Animals with Are You Ready? Let's go. Back to Noise Radio. Thank you very much for the raid, by the way.
What you gonna do now? You can't get my love no more. Better move on, walk on right out the door. Don't really care, I just want you so out my life. This is goodbye. This is goodbye. This is goodbye. What you gonna do now? You can't get my love no more.
Disgustingly good. Stuffed Animals, Give Yourself a Pat on the Back. That's brilliant, that is. That's a really nice track. Again, like, you know, it's just like some of the things that I pointed out earlier that were like little things that people were doing. Again, it's like that, like you can see there's like on the master volume, because the problem is when you compress and everything to make it sound really loud, then that's going to make the breakdown really loud. And then when more elements come in on the drop, it's going to squish it. So you end up with your breakdown sounding louder than the drop. And you can see here on the master channel, there's like an automation throughout this part of the break. And this whole drop.
Are you ready?
The whole fake drop is at a lower volume on the master, and then it hits you in the face. And again, sorry, look at the time. I was about to say there's no fat on it, and I looked at the time, 2:45. So you've just got your intro, breakdown. And listen to the variety of kicks on it that again keeps it interesting. So the drop, it's hard but kind of sinister and dark, which fits the vibe of the vocal perfectly. Just as your attention span's getting short, kick switches up. Again, so that's like third kick on that section. But they all share the same sort of characteristics, so it sounds like a nice balance. And again, this is an important bit. If you listen to the vocal here, I like the way that that's got the hats that keep things moving. Like I said, that it's like, you know, when you've got, it's all right at a festival playing these huge breakdowns, but when you're playing at a club, I mostly play at clubs. After you've given people a breather for a couple of seconds, you want to give them something to keep moving to, like, and that's like got the hats there. What you gonna do now? You can't get my love no more. Better move on, it's goodbye. Just to give people a sense of rhythm. Here, it'd be boring if you just did the same thing again. It's got the drums that keep it moving. It's like it's an elevation of the first breakdown. What you gonna do now? You can't get my love no more. Better move, go and walk. What you gonna do now? And then the fake drop, the ruler and sick mode style.
Are you ready?
Yeah, really well produced. Love it. Like, yeah, I'd feel awkward giving any kind of like constructive feedback or like any criticism of that track at all. Great job, guys. Intox and Risky Body Slam remix. Now, I can't remember. I think on the email they said that this was just like kind of like robbed out of the track. It's not been cleared by Bunt or anything, so they just sent this over just to have a listen to it. I'm a big fan of Body Slam, so for those who don't know, Bang the Future, Body Slam, a classic 90s hardcore track. I think you should have left all the bottom end in this section here. Like if you want to take it out in the drop, but yeah, it's especially noticeable. That's going to sound really thin in a club. Yeah, I think the production needs cleaning up a little bit on that, but there's a really good idea. This I didn't see coming, this drum and bass section here, and that sounds really cool. Again, let me see what's going on. I can't see what's going on the, because I've not got it on super loud, but it doesn't sound like there's that much going on in the sub, or it's so low that I can't hear it in the studio properly. Need to work on the subs with that a little bit. Well, yeah, some great ideas with that. That's like I said, that if you can get the remix parts off Bunter and have a proper go. It's even like the strings there, they just sound like really thin. If you can get the parts off him, I'm sure you could like tidy that up into a proper little remix. That so yeah, good job. Intox and Risky, just like go over the mix. The arrangement's really cool. I was about to say that this back end of the track here, it's like there's too many sections that are all doing the same thing, but they're all quite, that's why I was skipping through it, not out of being rude, but just like out of context to make sure that this is all interesting. Yeah, there's not a lot of fat on that. So yeah, good job, guys. Like I said, just revisit the mix on that one. Who have we got next? Is Pat Tyler still with us? Still awake? Did you say went to sleep? You're out in Australia. Lucas Aid with Concord, Pat Tyler remix. Yeah, Pat, I think everyone agrees with the chat on that one. That's wicked. That's really good. What's the crack with that? I'm not familiar with the original Lucas Aid Concord that you've done a remix of. Is that like a big tune? It's like it's definitely got that trancey vibe, hasn't it? It sounds like it could be a classic 2000s trance tune. It's been kind of like reworked into freeform, but I'm not familiar with the original. So I'm guessing that's not like officially licensed, or is it somebody that you know? Because that's really good. If you've got any more original stuff like that, like we'd love to have stuff like that on the label. Oh, it's a Raw Elements track from back in 2002. Okay, yeah, nice. Because we've not bothered doing sub-licensing for the label. You know, when it's like, say, like Raw Elements owns that, and then I could release that remix, but I have to sub-license it from the other record label. And it's just so much headache with contracts and paperwork and so many people involved that that it's just not worth sub-licensing anymore. The only time we've done it, we've made exceptions for stuff like when I've sub-licensed some Scott Brown remixes and stuff like that, because I know Scott personally well, and I can just call him up and go, is it okay to do this? And then you have that, you know, kind of like agreement, and there's not going to be like a problem with it. But yeah, please keep me posted with any original stuff that you're doing, mate, because like the production's on point, super clean. I love the art base on it. Buckets of energy, mate. Buckets of energy. Love it. Right, okay. Little friend of our show goes by the name of Gunfingers. What's Gunfingers got for us? I love Gunfingers stuff, by the way.
Frequency response test. Frequency response test.
That's wicked. Love it. Love it. Absolutely love it. Everything about it. If that had like horror movie samples in the breakdown and stuff, I'd be like, it's too hard and too dark for me. But the fact that his stuff's, it's like, it's so fun and bouncy and energetic. Obviously, it's like got that Mortal Kombat vibe with it. And then it just drops like, whereas like this first drops like fucking proper kicks you in the teeth, doesn't it?
Frequency response test.
And that groove with it, it's like pull push. You can hear it on the intro here as well. bits in triplets and bits and straight percussion as well, and you get that push pull. It feels like jarring, and that's with the drop, because people don't really dance and get into the groove for this hard stuff, do they? And then this breakdown super rangy and uplift. And again, a disgustingly hard drop on this bit. And it'd be a bit much if you didn't get any kind of... It'd feel a bit like cut and paste. Happy, hard, happy, hard. It needed something to tie it together at the end. And this change up, just listen to it. Something Prodigy used a lot in their music as well, like dissonance and release. So you get that uneasy, like, it's when's it going to go? When's it going to go? When's it going to go? And you can listen to it there. It's like you're waiting for the release, and you get it at the end of the track. And again, super tight. Again, 2 minutes 40. What's this little bit of audio at the end going on here?
Hey, that's something. Hey, that's something everyone can enjoy.
Nice little bonus, cheeky little bonus at the end. Yeah, I mean, if I don't know whether Gumfingers will be watching this back later, but yeah, great job, buddy. That's amazing. Really good. Really good. Stormraiser and Exiara with Epic Breakfast. Super fun track that. I'm not convinced by the vocal. I wonder if Stormraiser and Exeria, I need to get that down. I wonder if they're Japanese or heavily influenced by Japanese music, because that definitely has a Japanese hardcore vibe to it, and that kind of like that quirkiness with it. That feels like, again, just to me personally, it's like not something that I would take, but everything about that track is great. And if they had 5 other tracks, I'm sure I'd very much be interested in picking one of them up for the label. And I think they might have sent over a bunch of tracks. And this is back to that problem that I was saying at the start, is when people sent over too many tracks and I pick one at random, maybe that's not the best representation of what would be sent, would be the best one to send over. But if you listen to this drop here, the power stompy bit. And even the change, it changes to a gated kick there. Listen. Do yourself a favour and get rid of the bass line in this section so you really get that doof, 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 that cold. See, that's a gated kick. Where was Dom's one before? Because Dom did it really well on Emoticon. Where did he do it? It was in this section, wasn't it?
Artificial intelligence.
So we switched to a gated kick, but he got rid of the bass line as well. I think leaving the offbeat on top of it, kind of like you lose the impact of it. But I can hear it's going on underneath. Sorry, it's not the reverse bass that has been dropped out, but it's the other offbeat synth. You see, there's still the does kill all of that and just go like, so you really get the effect, and it's like and bring the reverb tail up in the mix. So it's like behind the kick, and then the gabbery kick. Again, this is just keeping it interesting. That section sounds really nice. Barking down the speaker. Whoa, whoa, whoa. And then it's offset by the big breakbeat sections, and the breakdown reminds me of that very Japanese one. Just the breakfast thing I'm not that mad on. I'm sure there's a reason behind it, like that, and far be it from me to throw shade on it. Just personally, I'm kind of, that doesn't really strike a chord with me. But you know, if there was something else in the breakdown that was more to my taste. So like I said, I'm sure there's loads of other music that they'd write that I'd be love to take off the hands for the label. Yeah, you can even hear the little chiptune influence section there, which a lot of Japanese artists use. Great job. Really great job. And then the last one of the show, Abtech, another artist from Australia. He's previously released on the label and his stuff's very good. So we'll finish on a high note here, I think.
5 days a week, it never ends. It's enough to drive me mad, lose my mind and go insane. I need to break away, I need to free my mind because the pain is real from the stress I feel, and that's why I say, fuck the 9 to 5, it's the weekend. I'm the lose my mind and with my friends. It's the only way that I can break free from my reality. The 9 to 5 is the weekend. I'm the lose my mind and with my friends. It's the only way that I can break free from my reality. I'm alive, this is my time. Bring me to my knees, I'm breaking free from my reality.
Yeah, that's wicked, isn't it? There's not a lot to say. I mean, that's like a Dutch festival anthem, isn't it? That type of vibe to be played there. Mid-intro section, reverse bass. Screeches, and then it switches up to the big kick before the main drop. That's what I was saying about, like, with some of them just get a little bit bland. Some of the tracks, haven't they? It's just section after section after section. Whereas you listen to tracks like this, it's like kick fills, edits, mini builds, drops, change the kick and stuff like that. And as much as kind of, you know, people joke about it and be like, oh, you know, back in the day, people used a good kick, so you didn't need to change it 5,000 times. It's like, it's fun to make little jokes like that. This is the world we live in now, and this is what you need to do. And you can hear all the little intricate details that pitch rises, all the kick rolls, the drops out and stuff, just to keep it interesting.
I need to break away, I need to free my mind because the pain is real from the stress I lose my mind and with my friends. It's the my time. Bring me to my knees, I'm breaking free from my reality.
And again, what I was saying about keeping the drops different. Now they're, in theory, similar drop, but listen to it. Listen to the kick on this one. Second time round, it's harder, so it escalates. It's like, you know, that's obviously what you'd expect. And then listen to the melody on the first drop after the break.
My reality. My reality.
The melody's doing a lot of the work there, like, you know, for what you're listening to. It's very staccato, like, you know, like very stabby. And then listen to what he's done here. They're effectively just the chords side chained. So it's like, it's the chords done with a lead, and then the side chain going woot, woot, like lifting it up, or like, you know, like kickstart or whatever, you know, whatever you use, LFO tool to get that that fake sidechain sound. And there's that counter melody with a screech. Very well done. A lot of very interesting ideas going in there. And in, again, including the intro, a 3-minute track, effectively. Like if you take this out, because when you're mixing it, you're going to be mixing that bit in. So that would be a Yeah, exactly 3-minute track. So you can do a lot in 3 minutes, can't you? So yeah, some great tracks. We'll wrap it up now. I think a lot of good tracks to do. Like excuse my colouring system that I've got going on there. That doesn't mean necessarily signing or not signing. I'm just like colouring them for my own thing, so I can like go back and look at it and know if there was something interesting that I wanted to go back or talk to the artist about or something. But yeah, obviously it's like I can't sign that many tracks every month. I was thinking about speaking to the distributor that does my record label and setting up a sub label. And I was trying to think of a name. I was thinking we could even call it Rave Review, like a second record label, and put some of the more up and coming artists on that just to get the volume out. Because it's going to be a bit sickly if it's like, like 1 or 2 a week on the Keeping the Rave Alive label. It's just going to be like nothing's going to stand out, is it? I like the idea, like we've had a little break at the moment, but I like the idea of a release every 2 weeks on the Keeping the Rave Alive label, and then maybe on the off weeks we could set up a Rave Review label to give like more up and coming artists a chance. So do you enjoy this? You think it's something that's worth doing? I hope no one took offence by, I was, tried to like point out whether I loved the track or whether I wasn't really feeling it, tried to point out bits that I liked and bits that I thought could be improved on all the tracks. So a bit of constructive criticism for everything. And I hope that people take that as it's intended. Like, it's just me trying to give some honest feedback on it and trying to give something to help. And I'm not the be all and the end all and the, all seeing oracle and knowledge of dance music production. Far from it. So I'm only just giving you my humble opinion, not so much as a excellent producer. I wouldn't say that I fall into that category, but more as a DJ that's been professional for like 20 years now. So, kind of like I know what I'm looking for in music to play as a DJ, and that's surely the idea. And then running a record label, I know what works and what doesn't, and following current trends and stuff like that. So hope it's of interest, and we get to listen to loads of great music, don't we, and hang out for a little bit. So should we bring up where's me little PowerPoint presentation again? I'll pop it up. If you go back and watch this stream, you can see it all. I put it all at the start. Make it full screen. How to submit your tracks to the show. You can see it there. Go to the website, drop it in the form. Please use Dropbox, Google Drive or SoundCloud or anything where I can download the track that won't expire if I don't get it straight away. Name your tracks clearly. That's basically the gist of it, isn't it? I'm sure you can figure it out. Cool. I'm going to go to bed. It's like it's nearly midnight now and my baby will be up very early in the morning and I won't have much sleep. So I'm going to crack on. Thanks for joining me. Keep an eye on that website, because on the website, when I've got the date for the next one, we'll try and do one of these once a month or something like that, and then I'll upload it to YouTube as well, to hopefully get like the artists a little bit more exposure and stuff. More people can hear it on there, and the audio of it will be on my Patreon tomorrow. So yeah, you'll have to bear with me while I'm editing and getting everything uploaded and stuff, because like I said, I'm spinning a lot of plates at the moment, which is why I'm here doing this at midnight. But yeah, thanks for joining me. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll catch you back on the regular stream here at 7 p.m. UK time next Tuesday. So until then, have a good weekend. Check out the Keeping the Rave Alive podcast. It's a good one this week. I'll see you all soon.